2009, there was a push, and we were able to successfully amend on getting homesteaders out of that, and that ultimately led to be a poison pill that ultimately killed the legislation. I'm also proud to say that we have convinced peers on both sides of the aisle that non-judicial will not work. It will be unlawful, it will be against our Constitution, and so with your all's help, and with the help of a lot of folks up here, we have at least gotten past that juncture. Now, there are issues in the current bill that we have been looking at that we have concerns about. But first and foremost, I do want to say the bill is no longer on the agenda. And there's a reason for that. The reason is all of you. The reason is that you have made your calls. You have come up here. And presence is important. I know we have folks here who have come from the far corners of Florida on buses all night last night to be here. Your presence makes a difference, and I want to take a moment to thank you and give you some applause, because I know how hard it is to get. The bill as it stands, as it goes through the Senate and the House, would expedite into one hearing these foreclosure proceedings. In addition, it would lower the burden of proof. It would be the only civil case that would have to have a judgment based upon the preponderance of the evidence rather than a material issue of fact, which means that if you have, it's basically increasing your burden from just having one fact that shows you can't have judgment to having to actually literally prove your case in the court proceeding. The other issue that we have concerns about is abandonment. There are often times when people have to work 2 or 3 jobs. They're not at home all the time. So it may look like there's an abandoned property. The problem is that person is still litigating their case, and what this bill would do would be to allow process server. We want law enforcement to verify whether people have abandoned properties or not. Another big issue that has come up is court funding. We had in 2010, $10 million go to foreclosure courts to try to sort this out. Now, I know a lot of folks have problems with what has happened in individual cases in court, but I really believe the truest way to resolve this and protect rights is to make sure we have enough judges to be able to go over this stuff, and not a handful of judges without resources who are then, by their situation, encouraged to move these things along. Another issue that's come up is we've had a potential settlement among the 50 states. I know there are good points and bad points to it. The one good point, though, is that Florida would get a large share of this $25 billion settlement. The concerns that I still have with it are whether we're still going to have immunity for folks who broke the law. And that's something that we still need to be sticklers on. And so I want to thank the AGs of of Nevada and California for not sticking to the deal. And as a result, we got a better deal even for Florida. So I do want to give a hand at least to California and to Nevada for doing the right thing. It's not the perfect deal yet, but it is going in the right direction. So I do want to thank them for doing that. The bottom line is we can't just sweep people out of their homes to try to get past this crisis. We need to protect people's rights, and we need to have substantial resources. It is not about changing policy to make it easier. It's about making sure that we have a fair system that will move these cases through efficiently but effectively, so that if you have a claim, if you have a defense, you can be heard. And if it is one of those cases where people are looking to move on, then we need to be able to do that in an efficient manner, but not in any way that's going to trample people's rights. With that, I just want to thank my friends here, Matt White, I just want to make sure I get that right, and our leader, Franklin Sands, for coming along. I do want to give, if you want to say a few words.
Just very few.
Yes, I would.
Okay. Darren has covered the issues. For me, it's a very, very simple issue. To have people move on or move back in. The reality is that so many people are out of their homes in Florida, and these are hard-working people, no question about it. I've met with a constituent where the mother and family are living in a car while the dad goes elsewhere to try to find work. This is absolutely wrong. People who go from living in homes to living in shelter, these are hard-working Floridians. There's something wrong with the process. It has to be fixed, and we have to find jobs for people, but more importantly, we have to get people back into their homes. Thank you.
I do want to mention one more story here. This is a good friend of mine from Orange County, firefighter for how many years?
25.
Why don't you tell him how much you lost your home for?
$2,000 on my balance.
And why did that happen?
I was going through a divorce at the same time, but the judge, that once I found out that they had moved to summary judgment, the judge seemed to be more concerned about getting the case through the judgment, through the courts rather, than serving the just law. So as a result, I lost the home. I'm still working on that, but that's where it is at this point. 30 years.
These are the types of reasons why it's not about expediency. It's about having this substantial resources and not changing things to make it easier. We keep things as is, just like with every other type of court case that we have in the state of Florida. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has. Oh, sorry. We have the good revenue here from Bill.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. I represent Pico United. I represent Pico United Florida, along with Focus, Federation of Congregation United to Serve. We have with us Organized Now, as well as Mortgage Justice. And we're here to say that this Florida Foreclosure Fair Act is unfair. Some 600,000 families are suffering as a result of this potential bill that may go through. So we're here to communicate to those of you who are not aware of this, that there are many families that are suffering as a result of this. As was mentioned earlier, families that are living in their cars. There are people that are experiencing a lot of problems as a result of this particular bill. So we're here to say that it's an unfair act, and we're here to fight against it, and we'll do everything that we can to do so.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Barbara Stevens. I'm from Sarasota, Florida, in Mortgage Justice. And I just wanted to tell you briefly about my situation, which is I have 4 Doc X assignments signed by Linda Green and 6 other robo-signers. And I think it's pretty evident. I think most of you probably know who Linda Green is. She's been on 60 Minutes 3 times saying I'm not the vice president of any bank, although she signed it, and they're using this assignment to take my house. And I've been up in court myself. I don't have a lawyer. I've told the judge, look, this is a Linda Green assignment. He doesn't even know who she is. So they are foreclosing on fraudulent paperwork, 2 different notes. You know, one has an allonge that says it's Deutsche Bank that's foreclosing, but Deutsche Bank would have a hard time proving that they owned the note, that they ever owned the note, and especially that they owned it when they put in the complaint. So these things are going on, and if we let this bill go through, I won't have a chance. They'll just come in and take the house, and we shouldn't let that happen.
Thank you so much.
This is the most beautiful thing I've seen in this country in a very long time. Look around you. This is a cross-section of Florida. Look around you. These are your neighbors from every corner of this state, both parties, all races, all creeds, standing together with leadership like the people we see right behind us. Again, it's going to be both sides of this party in this state, standing together and saying we're going to stand up for the rights of Floridians. I like the comment I just heard back there. It said, move back in or move along. Do it with justice, do it with equality and dignity. It's a beautiful thing you folks have done here. Congratulations and thank you to all of you.
The answer isn't in this bill. I mean, most vast majority of cases go uncontested, and it takes more than 2 years if something got reversed in the last 2 years. This is not a traditional foreclosure in this bill, so it's not the bill. It's just sort of, I mean, this is prolonging the housing crisis.
2 thoughts on that. One, back in 2010, we funded $10 million in foreclosure courts, which got rid of 40% of the backlog in 1 year. I believe it is a question of resources, and in a $69.2 billion budget, we should be able to find $10 million to help resolve this crisis. The second issue is that, and I've been saying this for quite a while now, there's very little stopping a bank with all the proper paperwork from foreclosing on a house if they have all their ducks in a row. What has been the problem is that they have faulty paperwork, or they don't produce all the paperwork, or they have a judgment and they're not bringing the sale forward. And so I don't think we need to use this as an opportunity to change well-established civil burdens of proof that are in every other case, when the reality is that there has been a lack of prosecution on the end of the banks. And so at the end of the day, we're not trying to make the process inefficient, but we do not want to trample on anybody's rights here. If you have a defense, if you have a case, you need to have the ability to be able to bring your defense and save your home if that would be the case. And so with that, those are, I think, the two solutions. One, encouraging the banks to file all their paperwork on time, and if not, they're to blame for that. And two, as importantly, we need to have the judiciary have sufficient resources so that we can deal with this backlog in a timely manner.
Representative, Kathleen Casadoma has indicated that she was considering raising the burden of proof, amending the bill to raise the level of proof that's required. The bill also requires that banks come with the proper paperwork when they file the initial action. If the burden of proof is raised, and if the banks are required to bring the proper documentation when they file the action, is there anything stopping you from supporting the bill?
There is an abandonment provision that we're concerned about as well that would allow process server to make that decision. I do have to say that Representative Casadoma has met with me and she has listened to our concerns, so I do applaud her for that and for being open-minded to some of the changes. But my thought is, unless this bill is going to do everything the right way, I can't in good faith support it. Because of the fact that, again, I've seen far too often up here in Tallahassee, when we have a crisis, we use it as an opportunity to trample the existing rights of citizens. And so I'm not saying that she is trying to do that. I think she's just trying to come up with her own solution, just like Representative Stubbe, and I know they're all in good faith trying to work this thing out. My thought is it's a matter of resources. It's a matter of having paperwork up front. If we had those two things going on, we would see a little more efficiency in that without putting people in a worse advantage than any other civil case in trying to defend their case.
There's just one more question, and he'll be available afterwards.
Can you explain to me why, in a building filled with I don't know how many legislators, you're the only one?
Well, hold on. We had Representative Sands here, too. Where is the I want to give him credit here.
Where's the Attorney General? Where is she?
That's her own prerogative, not mine.
Okay, so I wonder, where are the rest of them?
What I will tell you is, I am hopeful we will see a rallying of both the Democratic caucus as well as there are property rights Republicans who have been solid on some of these issues as well, from sort of the libertarian end of it. So I'm hopeful we'll get more, but all I can tell you is I'm here on behalf of my constituents, and all I can do is be here and make sure that I am here to defend folks. I can't really say much to whether folks are here or not. They should be here. I know a lot of them support the positions that I've been iterating right now, and keep in mind other people they may be in committee meetings and the like too. But yes, I think we need to rally as many people as possible, and at the end of the day, they need to be judged more than anything else by how they vote.
Who's rallying on the other way?
Why don't we just let him talk to the media?
We appreciate it.
Do you feel that the House members will show the courage that the senators showed on the other side of the aisle the other day on the privatization issue and buck the leadership in this illegal body?
I hope so. I hope so. I want to thank everybody for coming today, and I'll be available afterwards for questions through Mark. Your presence has stopped this bill from being agended, so don't doubt for 1 minute you being here was anything other than wholly productive. You made a difference. I want to thank you all for stepping up for your community and for property rights in the state of Florida.